What's up everyone? Hope you're all doing well. Happy Friday. We are nearing the end of my summer project to capture as many of the American 40 to 49 age group records on slides. So it's been a busy last couple weeks. I've taken on the 6K, the 10K, the hour, the 30-minute, the 5K, the 2K, half marathon, and today may be the final one. At least it's the final one in this first set that I'm going after, which is probably going to be the hardest one as well, the marathon. Now it's been about 18 months since I did my last marathon. That was on the static erg, did that in March of 2025. And I told myself at the end of that piece that I would be a-okay never doing another marathon on the erg. And to be honest, were it not for this record that I'm going after, I think that statement would still be true. But what I'll be attempting today is not only to break the American record, but also the world record for 40 to 49 men on slides, because they are one and the same. So currently at 2 hours, 35 minutes and 51 seconds, if I remember correctly, which comes out to a 150.8 average pace per 500 meters. So my goal obviously is to beat that. Now, with a marathon, unlike most other time trials, there's a heightened level of preparation needed, and the details become really, really important. And I'll talk through a few of the things I've done in my preparation to hopefully make this piece go as smooth as possible. So obviously there is the preparation in the days leading up to the marathon, because when you're going to be spending 42,000 meters on the erg, you don't want to be putting in a lot of volume in the days leading up to that. So rest is critical. And by rest, it's not just shorter training sessions, it's good sleep, it's fueling right, it's getting your mind right, all of the ingredients that you need for a successful erg test. So I've had a much lighter week. This week, I did training sessions on Monday and Wednesday, both designed to just help me get comfortable and familiar and confident in my target pace for the marathon. Took full rest days on Tuesday and Thursday. Been making sure to drink a ton of fluids and electrolytes, get plenty of carbs in, so that hopefully I don't run into fueling issues in the middle of the piece. As far as the setup itself, I'll take you through it because I've incorporated some lessons learned from last year's marathon, where I really struggled to get adequate fluids and carbs in. I managed to survive the piece, but it was by the skin of my teeth, and I am hoping with a slightly smarter approach this time around, I can be a bit more confident and aggressive in that second half. Here's the setup. It looks pretty busy, there's a lot going on, but key things to note. So airflow, right? Airflow is critical in a long piece like this. And when you're someone who sweats a ton like I do, dissipating all that body heat becomes extremely important. And so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 fans that I'll have on during the piece. I've also got the air conditioning cranked down a little bit lower than we would normally have it. Now, it's not supposed to be a very hot day today, and I'm doing this in the morning before it really starts to heat up anyways, but keeping the ambient temperature down will also help with just keeping the body cool and preventing early overheating. And as far as fueling goes, keeping it pretty basic actually. This is certainly a function over form setup here, but you'll see I've got just got one of our chairs set up next to the erg that has a camelback hanging from this old beat up laundry rack that I found in the garage. And I was experimenting with this on Monday and Wednesday, figuring out where to place it, how long it would take me to actually get fluids in. Same thing with the carb gels here. So I've got a few pre-opened carb gels in this mug right next to me. Now, in terms of the Camelback itself and what's inside it. So again, I experimented with this a little bit on Monday and Wednesday. I think the mistake I've made in prior marathon attempts, or even in my 100K bike erg attempt a couple months ago, was not taking enough carbs in early enough and consistently enough through the piece. There's been a lot written in the last few years about high carb consumption for endurance athletes during long events. It can be really helpful to take in anywhere from 70 to even north of 100 grams of carbs per hour. Up until a couple weeks ago, I had never tried that. It's a lot of carbs, and it can cause GI issues if you are unaccustomed to it. So part of what I was testing out on Monday and Wednesday was this higher carb intake, whether my stomach could handle it, and I had no issues. So coming back to the Camelback, I've got about 1.5 liters of water in there, mixed with in total about 200 grams of carbs. Now, I don't expect to be able to drink all of that during the piece, but when I was testing this setup out earlier this week, I was trying to take sips every 2,500 meters or so, and I estimated I was taking in roughly 150 milliliters of fluid each time I took a sip. Very rough, obviously wasn't able to measure it that precisely, but let's say 150 mLs every 2,500 meters. That is 600 mLs every 10K. So over about 30K, I should be able, if I keep up that rate, to drain that bag. Now, I'm also probably going to be taking in a gel every 5 or 10K or so. So between the gels and the Camelback, I've got ample carbs. It'll just come down to what's easier to actually consume while I'm on the erg, because I do not like to stop during a marathon. So the challenge really becomes, how do you minimize the slowdown when you're actually drinking or eating? A couple other things to keep in mind for a marathon. Chafing can be a real issue. I think most people will have pretty similar hot spots, for instance, on the outsides of your knees and the insides of your arms, your elbows, where your arms might rub against your legs during the catch. Under the arms could be another one, especially if you're wearing a chest strap based heart rate monitor. And so what I use for longer sessions, less so on the rower, but certainly on the bike, and certainly when I was running a lot, is Body Glide. Looks like a stick of deodorant. Apply it to wherever you think you may have chafing issues, and the Body Glide takes care of it. You don't have to worry about it. So I will also be recording this row. I've been recording all of my record attempts and submitting the videos to Concept 2, not because they're necessarily required, but just because I feel like for any kind of record attempt to be legitimate in my mind, you should have video proof, unedited, uncut video proof that shows the piece being done, just something I feel I need. I'll have the camera set up. As you can see, I have erg data airplaying to the TV. Just a little easier for me to look at this way than if it's on the phone, given the erg is moving back and forth on slides, right? There you have it. That is pretty much the setup. I'll admit this is the test that I'm probably the most nervous about, just because it's a really long piece. The marathon is really, in a sense, more of a mental battle than it is a physical one. Not that it's physically easy by any stretch, but during those first 5, 10, 15,000 meters, right, it's really hard to not think about how much rowing you still have left to do. Oh, and yeah, so you might notice the headband and even the wristbands I'm wearing today. Now, this set was gifted by one of my Masters Club teammates to the whole squad before we did an erg test together back in June. So I thought today would be a very appropriate time to wear this set, given I am chasing American records after all. But what I'm really hoping the wristbands will help with specifically is keeping my hands from getting too wet and blistering during the piece. It's not usually a problem for me, but once I'm on the erg for more than an hour, hour and a half, blisters can become an issue. So I'm hoping these will take care of that. But anyways, enough talking. Time to get the pre-workout down, warm up, and get right to it. Yikes, tender. Okay. Oh. All right, let's look at the results here. 2 hours, 35 minutes, 11.7 seconds. Let's go to memory. 235, 11.7, 150.3 average split. Beat the old record by about 40 seconds. This is for the American and world heavyweight men's 40 to 49 age group record. All on slides. So with that, time to put this campaign on pause. I might give the 4 minute and the 1K a crack, but I'm gonna need more specific training to give those a serious run. So to be continued, maybe. All right, immediate post-row thoughts. The posterior soreness is pretty much on par with what I remembered from the static marathon. So it's gonna be, things are gonna be a little tender back there for a few hours, but small price to pay. And actually, I felt pretty good that whole time. So cardio-wise, I never really felt like I was in trouble. I did manage to down basically the entire 1.5 liters of electrolyte and carb fluid and take in my 4 gel packs. So in total, that was probably about 200 to 220 grams of carbs that I took in during the piece. So that felt great. The only hiccup was starting about 10K left. I could feel that twinge in my right arm like it was about to cramp. I'm sure you all know what that feels like when you feel a little twitch, and that is the precursor to a cramp. And so once I felt that, basically for the last 10K, I was going pretty easy with the arms at the finish and trying not to yank on it just to avoid a cramp, because who knows what happens if you cramp with 7, 8, 9K left. Hard to know if you're going to be able to finish, so didn't want that. So I really wasn't able to push the last 10K. Unfortunately, I think I had it in the legs and lungs to do so. Just a lot of things can go wrong in a 42,000 meter row. And so all things considered, I will take that. That was a much better piece in terms of execution and readiness, I think, than the static marathon I did last year. So really good way to end this slides campaign. As I said right before the piece, I was pretty nervous about this because, well, as the saying goes, right, the best laid plans of mice and men. Anything can go wrong despite your best efforts. Probably not gonna do another marathon for a long time. I would highly encourage any of you who are thinking about giving a marathon a try, whether it's on the static erg or on slides. Definitely do not underestimate the preparation required and the rehearsal required. You want to get at least a couple training sessions in, longer training sessions in, where you are fully testing your fueling strategy, your setup, your fans, just doing basically a full dress rehearsal. You don't want to be doing anything for the first time on test day, especially with a marathon. So until next time, take care of yourselves, keep chasing. Peace.